Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mathura and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my book project called Between Worlds. And it's the basis of the interviews that you're going to be most probably watching, that are in the series. And it's not published yet, but it's a tale that needs to be told, that's never been told before. And it's a very funny story about me, Mathura who wasn't called Mathura who was called Mark, from southwest London. I was a part of the whole kind of 60s thing, basically. And the story's not just about me, it's about being born in southwest London, 1956, being brought up with the Beatles, the Stones, pop, psychedelics, at a very early age, describing all the sociological phenomena that was going on. And I've been inspired to write this book because I've read other books by other people, notably the most famous book, Be Here Now, by Babaram Das, about his story to India, his journey in life, why he ended up here. And I'm part of this whole generation, the big majority of the counterculture of the 60s. It was a spiritual journey, and it took many people to the East. Even if they didn't make it physically to the East, they got involved with Eastern teachings. And other books like My Life in Orange, which is about someone who's born into one of these groups, and Beyond Gurus. There's a whole lot of books I've read that have inspired me to write my own book. And at the early age of 17, I left home, gave up my opportunities in mainstream society, and joined the Krishna movement and took the name Mathura Das in 1973 from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and became part of a big East-West social experiment that went on. It was very interesting, and that's a big chunk of the book. And then I left the institution after getting very disenchanted, and also driving through overland to India during the height of the Iranian Revolution, going to Bangladesh into the exotic jungles there and getting into the roots of the culture. That was a great experience that I want to share with you. And then leaving the institution and kind of going through quite a period of struggle after kind of dedicating all of my life to that journey. And all sorts of strange things happening to me, like in the 80s, ending up in a labor camp in Russia during the time of Gorbachev and Glasnost, and then coming out and doing a big article in the Sunday Mirror the time when Margaret Thatcher went to Russia. And then I went through a whole period of re-exploring psychedelics, which is where I kind of started my whole spiritual journey in my teens, and that's a very interesting journey, trying to understand what has happened, what is going on, trying to make sense of the whole picture. And then in the 80s, I suddenly found myself in this role where a whole new generation had suddenly emerged, also searching for meanings and also interested in this whole Eastern part of the story. And I found myself as a kind of as a cultural bridge, a link in this whole story. And got involved with the psychedelic rockers from England who were very successful in the 90s, Kula Shaker. That was a very interesting part of the story. And then I did a thing with Channel 4 on television about the Kumbh Mela, the biggest festival in the world, and they wanted me involved because I'd been to one before. So this is what's happened. I've been coming to India for years, experiencing so many things: observational, experiential, textual, learning, reading, experiencing. And this is what the book is all about. And then coming to life's journey and facing one's demons and all of one's darkest things in oneself, and the challenges that one faces as just being a human being. Dark nights of the soul, quite long, but then coming out of those spiritually rejuvenated and suddenly finding myself in my late 40s in a group called the Bindu Bubbas, writing songs and performing around alternative circuits in England and in Goa, and becoming quite popular and developing a fan base. And then also connecting with Darren Evans at Sangeeta Sounds, and finding all of my interest in Indian and folk world music and fusing them with the modern technology, and working on a fantastic project I've just been part of called Ashirvad. So this is about a little introduction about my book Between Worlds, and the kind of story that we hope that you will read, and some of the interviews and talks that I'm interested in expressing with about all the different things that I'm interested in. So thank you very much.